Today we're using SDF as our finish for the cedar shakes and the pine siding. We've chosen SDF because it'll be our one-coat protection in one-day finish. We're using it as a clear finish. I think we've selected autumn gold, which is this color here. This will go on in a very even and saturated way, providing rich color in just one coat. We always advise applying a second coat if you're looking to extend your maintenance cycle or provide a little better protection or richer color. Both SDF, Classic, and ENS are all available in transparent wood tones, as well as many, over 1,000 solid and transparent colors. If you're looking for a clear color, or a color, even a gray or dark blue, or any color in a transparent form, it's important to use Sansin Classic, as it will penetrate the wood, still allowing the grain to shine through. If you're looking for a painted-like surface, ENS is the product for you, possibly for millwork or siding, where you're looking to completely hide the character and color of wood. So we're ready to get started. We're going to spray this wall using the SDF stain. And a garden pump sprayer such as this one here. This is very easy to use. It doesn't atomize the product, so it's safe to use, easy to prevent overspray, and will saturate the surface even inside the cracks and checks quite nicely, and we can back brush out the runs as we move along the wall. Fast and fairly easy. We've also selected a couple of good quality brushes. One for staining the big surface using the SDF, which is a fairly viscous product. We'll have to dab and touch runs as we're spraying along the surface. And a good quality paintbrush for the ENS product that we'll use on the millwork. So to prepare for staining, we're going to start by taping up this window frame here. Luckily, Bruce has made this so it just pops out and making the job a little easier. It's important to stir once in a while during a bigger project, maybe every 5-10 minutes, or if you're using a mechanical sprayer, just recirculating the pump to keep the product agitated and the color consistent. So we've selected autumn gold as the color of choice today. This will complement the cedar and pine nicely, providing a real transparent tone using the Sansin nano tints and exceptional protection against ultraviolet light and discoloration. This product, as a two-coat system, will last or require maintenance every 4 to 6 years in a naturals tone, and in saturated and semi-transparent tones, possibly even 2 or 3 years longer between maintenance coats than that. This has been mixed adequately now. We have no solids on the stir stick, and we can go ahead and pour this into our sprayer. So there are many types of sprayers that you can use for a project like this. An airless sprayer is fairly common. Selecting an appropriate tip is important, and your dealer can obviously help you with that. This is not a very technically sophisticated unit, but you can control the fan size by just simply threading the nozzle on at different pressures. We've got our safety glasses, and we're ready to spray. Of course, when you're spraying at home, you want to remove all the hardware from your house or tape up any areas you want to avoid. When working around vegetation, you may want to cover that or wet it down using a garden hose just to protect those surfaces from the stain. We're going to start by spraying this sidewall here. I'm going to spray in a slightly upward angle. Be careful to get everything. So you're looking to saturate the wood in such a way that you apply to the point of refusal. Again, this is the first coat, so we're looking for good penetration and coverage. You can see this little sprayer is nice to work with because it doesn't really atomize the product, but allows us to get lots of material on the wall. So it's quite controllable. Some better tips may allow you to spray a nicer fan. And I'm just going to take my brush. So this wood is rough sawn. We haven't been able to necessarily clean it to remove some of the strapping marks and even some of the imperfections, but you can notice the stain is blending in fairly nicely. Washing it prior to application of the finish with something like Sansin wood cleaner or multi-wash would help remove some of these discolorations. And of course, the strapping marks would actually have to be cut out of the wood, and you'd have to avoid using that piece on a rough sawn surface. On smooth siding, we would recommend sanding, which would allow you to eliminate those strapping marks. So testing the color on your wood in advance of doing your whole project is very advisable, just to make sure you get the color and look that you're after, the transparency. And this product on a shingle surface will go on at around 150 to 200 square feet per gallon. You can notice we're being careful to avoid wasting product. You find some dry areas, just apply a little more product. Quick and easy application. With a sprayer like this, it could take an hour or so to do maybe a 50-foot wall. Similar to this, it might have 9 feet of height. If you're using an airless sprayer, you might be a little bit faster. So being a waterborne product, it's really nice to be able to spray this product. If this were a solvent-based oil or a solvent oil-based product, you wouldn't be able to spray it like this, and you'd be forced to put all this on by brush, saving you a lot of labor. So here with SDF, you're getting all the benefits of the penetrating oil in a waterborne system that has soap and water cleanup and is very easy to work with, even in a studio such as this. We've finished the siding now in SDF. It looks really nice. We've only got one coat on there, and you can notice how rich and saturated the color looks. Part of the reason for that is we put it on by sprayer, and we really did saturate the surface, putting it on heavily. When you're only doing one coat to protect the surface, it's important to get a heavy coat on. A second coat could be applied, but even with just one coat, 3 to 4 years of protection on a vertical surface can be expected from SDF between maintenance coats. We're now going to apply, we've removed the tape, and we're going to apply the ENS stain blocking primer. This window frame is made of Western red cedar, and you can see it has knots. Cedar is also known to have tannins, which basically run on moisture and will stain a white color or a gray color yellow if we don't use something like a stain blocking primer to prevent that. So we've prepared the ENS. We've stirred it nicely using a stir stick, and we didn't find much settlement. This product is quite thick by comparison to the stains, and we'll just be brushing that onto this surface. ENS is typically a 3-coat finish. 1 coat of the stain blocking primer or a penetrating undercoat like Sansin Classic, and 2 top coats to provide either a transparent or opaque finish. So you can notice how 1 coat of ENS stain blocking primer hides well, and the special resins and oils in this finish prevent the tannins and color from saturating through and discoloring the surface. So ENS is a very durable exterior finish that comes in both clear and solid colors. When applied well, it can last 5 to 8 years between maintenance cycles and can be used on things such as furniture, outdoor furniture, millwork, entry doors, any type of wood surface where you're really looking to envelope the wood and provide a real satin finish and protect the wood from any type of moisture penetration. My own Adirondack chairs, my railings around my deck, and my entry doors and all of my fascia and moldings are all done in Sansin ENS. We've now applied 1 coat of stain blocking primer, which is dried, and off camera we've taken and applied another coat of the ENS top coat. 1 more coat needs to be applied before we have an adequate film thickness to be able to protect this surface well. Being a solid color, we can expect this to go 6 to 10 years on an exposed surface, provided we've taken the time to coat it well and all the joinery, making sure we seal all the surfaces very nicely. So we're going to take a moment to sand this surface, make sure we get rid of any rough spots, and apply our final coat. And we're ready for some paint. So we're just going to wipe that down. It's important to wipe it down so we get rid of any dust and contaminants before we apply our final coat. Always make sure to just quickly stir the product. This is a fairly thick and viscous product, so there's really not much settlement. It's still advisable to stir to just make sure you've got a nice, consistent and even product. Coverage always increases in your final coats. When you're applying a paint or stain to a wood surface, you always want to brush with the grain to avoid leaving any marks or streaks in the surface. At the joinery, you'd like to start with the angle of the joint and just work across, feathering the finish away from the joint. This is really a common choice for people to set off the woodwork, choosing a nice accent color like this off-white. The ENS solid will really go for 7 to 10 years without any maintenance. We are looking, sometimes the substrate might swell and contract a little bit, being that it's wood, and you might find some openings in the joinery and so forth. It's important to seal those quickly and just scuff sand those and reapply a skim coat of ENS to seal up any new openings in the finish. But in general, providing the substrate's dry when you're initially applying the coat, 7 to 10 years will really be easily achieved. So this is what we can expect when we've got a properly applied saturated coat of SDF on the wall siding, a nice saturated color, even tones, great protection. The ENS has got 3 coats with the stain blocking primer as the first coat, nice and evenly applied in great conditions in our studio environment. Very excited to see that shed you've worked on, or that deck, or hopefully even that log house, or maybe a furniture project in the backyard. We love getting your pictures and look forward to receiving those.